Chair of Performing Arts here at USI. It is my pleasure to present our speaker today, Charles Schefer, who is a 1996 graduate of this esteemed institution. And boy, he's done a lot since then, and he will tell you about that. So without further ado, please welcome Charles Schefer.
Good afternoon, how is everybody?
Very good.
Good. Noise back is good. I'm a participation guy. Because you all came to see a PowerPoint and hear me talk about myself. That's exactly why you came today. No, it's not. I want to know why you came today, so I'm going to start with participation. What's your name? Will? Why'd you come? Fake answers only.
It was a nice, it was warm outside, so I decided to walk here on my knees. And not listen to you speak at all.
Awesome. Awesome. Please make as much noise as possible as we continue.
I was a bride.
You were a bride. What'd you get?
A crisp $2 bill.
Fantastic. That is awesome.
Came here for, I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous.
Me too. Me too.
Came here because the class I'm in, we're going to talks and such. And I thought, hey, it'd be interesting to go to it.
Extra credit. You get extra credit? Say yes. Okay, that's where we'll start. Look at that guy. What the hell happened? That's actual photo of me graduating from USI in 1996. That guy had hair, pretty smile, no belly, actually the same button-down shirt, and 2 pierced ears. Why, we don't know. My grandma liked it, my dad hated it. That's what 25 years does to your student ID. Oh, that's disgusting. All right, so I'm gonna start at the end, and then we're gonna come back around how we get there, right? So Paul reaches out, asks me if I'd like to do this, I say, yeah, that sounds fantastic, let's do it. And then I started looking at 30 years of pictures, 30 years of videos, 30 years of memories. And it's a lot. So I'm going to give a high-level resume, and then we're going to get into some questions and talk about where it started and where it goes. Film and TV and web. In 30 years, we've racked up over 1 million views. We've had 100+ film, TV, and documentary projects, 3 feature films, 15 short films, 100+ film festivals, 50+ music videos that have, music videos, do we know what music videos are? Okay, yeah, MTV, VH1, BET, GAC, CMT. No more music, lots and lots of reality TV. 100+ student scenes and reels. If you're a student and you need a reel, get a hold of it. We'll make it happen. 3 web series, 2 Oscar winners I got to work with, Billy Bob Thornton and Michelle Gondry. You couldn't have 2 very different people to learn from. I have scripts at the Writers Guild of America, 100+ commercials. A lot of them were set up by Sean Jensen calling me and saying, you want to work on a commercial? And I said, yes. Had the first film ever to premiere at the Victory Theater downtown, which is weird because it used to be a movie theater. But we did that. Launched MidwestSyndicate.com. It was the first streaming service. Should have kept it going a couple more years because that's when Netflix took off. Music world. 1 million+ streams, 500+ live shows, 458 songs, 136 different artists we've worked with, 30 albums, 28 music videos, 7 music compilations, 6 documentaries, and 2 Grammy winners, Lil Wayne and Eric Hot Sauce Hunter. He produced Destiny's Child back in the day, but Lil Wayne, I think, a banker? You do that too? Yeah, I do that too. Why not? So in the last 12 years, I've had 11 promotions. Why is that important? That's not, except for my paycheck. 10 different board of directors seats. I've sat on 7 company-wide initiatives, 19 committees and teams. I launched a mentor program and have 500 plus community service hours. All of it relates. Everything we do as people relate. There's a reason why you came today. Could be for extra credit. Could be for 10 bucks. Could be to not listen. That's okay. Actor, this is, I was not in a boy band, but I thought I was. Yeah. Rapper, this is on stage in front of the great DJ Flex opening up for Lil Wayne on tour. And the one picture I allow them to have as a banker. I don't like that. Here's where your journey needs to start. Find your mentors. They're right here. You know how I know? That's Professor Doug Hubble. That's Professor Stephen Wilford. That's my good friend Jennifer Burge. You guys may know Sean Jensen. And some of you may know Elliot Wasserman. You can tell him I kept the mustache bit. These people changed my life. I was a biochemistry student who transferred from IU to USI. My math and science credits didn't transfer. That's kind of sucky for a biochemistry major. So I took some electives to figure out what I wanted to do. How many people are trying to figure out what they want to do? You don't need to know. Path opens up and it shows you. Doug Hubble's wife, Laura, was a professor that taught speech classes. I like to talk. She asked me to stay after class. I thought, it's because I like to talk and I'm in trouble like I always do. She said, I will give you extra credit if you go audition for my husband's play. And I said, ah. She said, what if the extra credit's an A? I said, it's a deal. It wasn't an audition for one play, it was an audition for 2 plays. William Shakespeare's The Tempest and Eugene Ionesco's The Chairs. What? Could it be something easy? No, because life isn't easy. But it's fun. And you have to find the things that make you happy. So, I go to the audition. Doug Hubble's directing The Chairs. Stephen Wilford directing The Tempest. Jennifer Burge, the stage manager of probably every show in southern Indiana for a 10-year period, and now New York, and parades and all kinds of crazy stuff. Sean Jensen. I was going to wait till the end, but I'm going to do it right now. Do you know how lucky you are to have this lady in your life? This group of people have inspired me and taught me and showed me a way, allowed me to be myself and do the things that you want to do. Nobody has been more honest or truthful or taught me more things than that lady. Pretty tough on me sometimes, too. We may have had an argument or two. It's okay, I'm over it. Okay. But life leads you in these different paths and directions for a reason. And I just wanted a chance one time to publicly say, I love you. And you're amazing. How many people know Elliot? Yeah. We move on. Because I love Elliot. I love Elliot. We just hung out on Super Bowl Sunday, right? Everybody's afraid of Elliot, that's fine or whatever. He's soft. This picture is outside the old Idleheart Theater on a break of my last show at USI. You can tell that it's a long time ago because everyone's smoking. The guy in the sunglasses in the back with the hair, that's me. Do you remember her name? I don't remember her name.
Tara? No.
We'll go with that.
I don't know.
Kelly Fritz is probably one of the most naturally gifted actresses I've ever met in my life. Brooke Apple, some of you may know, she's the president of the board for Civic Theater. Behind her, getting the nose pinched, is Chris Passage, who is now the house manager for Ford Center, Victory, and Old National Defense Plaza. The hairy guy in the back is Brooke's husband. He's an actor around town, and Brad Barrage, who is making a name for himself in the sound world. Literally, the world. He's all over the place. If you ask those people then where they would be now, we thought we were still going to be doing that. So, first the lesson, then we'll get to talking. While you're here, learn your craft. Practice your craft. This is me right here. First show ever. First line I ever said on stage ever, anywhere in the world. Epoxy your throat, you bawling, blasphemous, and charitable dog. I still can't say it. But I remember it because I was terrified. But not as terrified as the second show, where 21, 22-year-old kid has to play an 85-year-old man who finds out at his first practice that there's an 11-page, a lot of pages monologue that he has to do by himself because there's only 2 speaking parts in the whole show. And then just for fun, the last show that I did here, Canterbury Tales, yes, that is a Volkswagen Mini bus that we took apart, welded back together, and put inside the vehicle. This is where imagination starts. This is where life starts. This is where choices start. Learn your craft. Practice your craft. Apply what you've learned and engage your team. My team, you saw them already. We started a company called Gator 9 because I moved to Los Angeles, and to get an agent, you have to have a reel. To get a reel, you have to have a job. To have a job, to get a job, you have to have an agent. How does that work? It doesn't work. So, I started knocking on doors at the universities there. UCLA, USC, famous film school, they should be able to do some reels for me. So Kelly Fritz and I go to USC. We get there, ready to make our big acting debut on film, and there are 10 people around a table much this size looking at a blueprint, not knowing what to do. So we walked up, what are you guys doing? Well, we're going to be delayed a little bit because we still have to build the set. Well, why aren't we building the set? Well, we're trying to figure this out. They had a blueprint, an actual blueprint. Here, at the time, we didn't have that. But I knew how to read one, so we look and we start going, and you hear, oh, don't do that, don't do that. And we look up, and Kelly Fritz, who's about this tall, has a flat on her back, and she's carrying it across because she knows how to put it together. We put our own set together to shoot a scene so we could have a reel, and we decided that was really dumb. We can do that ourselves. But we did. So we started Gator 9 to help folks just like you, just like us, who needed a break to get started. This is our first movie. I don't know if you saw the gentleman I was speaking to earlier. He just walked in here, not knowing this was on here, said, best night of his life with Bar Times. That was 23 years ago. Victory Theater. We rented out the bottom with the last few dollars that we had, sold tickets. So many people showed up that we had to open up the balcony. Non-union show, only non-union shows to sell out the Victory. I'd love to tell you that the movie is as good as the sellout. It's not. But, damn, that was a good night. Find one good night and make another. And keep moving. Apply what you've learned, engage your team. Apply what you've learned, engage your team, and then engage your mentors. Hades, Professor Doug Hubble, Zeus, Elliot Wasserman. Some of you may know Steve Small. He was a legend for a long time. Really good guy. Costume by Sean Jensen. She didn't make them for the project. She made me buy them from her. But that was the whole scenario. Bottom line, that's where this theater started. This is where it is now. So the question is, where are you going to take it next? I have all kinds of ideas about stories that I want to tell, but I want to know what you guys want to hear about. So the floor is now open because I'm done with the PowerPoint. Is everybody here a theater major? Who's not a theater major? All right. What brought you in?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm here for a class, but, you know, I was also doing nothing this evening. It was nice out. Decided to go listen to that talk. Figured it'd be nice.
Perfect.
Pretty much it.
Well, what is your major?
Computer science.
Computer science. What are you going to do with it?
That's the part I'm not completely sure yet what I want to do. Kind of open to anything.
What do you want to do?
I like actually programming, so like software engineer stuff is what I enjoy the most, but
Can you make apps?
I can try to make apps.
I need to see you after the show. Where are my other non-majors? Besides the $10.
Why I'm here today? Decision, I was a theater minor, I had to drop it unfortunately due to space.
Okay.
Mhm.
What is your major?
English education, now just English. I wanted to teach for so long, and I started part-time student teaching and realized that substitute is not what I love. And I've worked in the theater shop for years, and I applied for summer stock, and
Sounds like you might love that.
I got a job offer this weekend, so I'm really excited.
So here's what happens when you change your major. I was a biochemistry major, went to that speech class, auditioned for the shows, decided to change my major. I had to tell my parents. I'm not going to be a doctor, but I can play one on TV. I tried to slide out because I thought all hell was going to break loose and they were going to destroy the room. And my mom said, it's about time. And my dad said, we just want you to be happy. And that's where you need to start. Right? Everything else falls into place after that. Take what you learn and apply it to what you want to do. That started here for me, and it's starting for you guys too. What's your major? Yeah.
I'm the alumni and engagement director, so I'm just excited to have an alum here talking to our current students.
I'm excited to be here. When Paul asked, I was like, me?
I did study communications and advertising. I was wondering, why is it important for alumni like you to remain connected to USI, or what's the value in your life remaining connected to USI?
There's a lot of different reasons. But the connection goes both ways, and I think we forget that, right? It kind of started, I made a joke about Sean calling me about a commercial. But that in turn caused me to call other students and alumni to come work on these pieces, right? And so when you can share the experience, then the journey isn't as hard. Right? I think maybe, I don't know if I was the first, but one of the first to move to LA, not knowing what we're going to run into. And so the first experience was that at USC. The next experience, so my major, by the way, there wasn't a theater major at that time. So I graduated with a communications degree with an emphasis in radio, television, and theater. My minor was French, because why not make things even harder along the way, and psychology. And so the first job I got was on a music video for an artist named Beck. You guys know Beck? Some folks do. He was the big thing at the time, and the director of that music video was a very talented director named Michel Gondry. If you don't recognize his name, you'll recognize the movie Eternal Spotlight, Sunshine of the Mind, whatever. I can't even say it, so but he's an Oscar winner. He also does not speak English. Guess what he speaks? French. And so I get to the set, and he's pleading for help. And his assistant isn't there, and so I speak French. So what turned into a one-day background gig turned into a 3-week gig. My part-time job while I worked, who works while they're a student, was as a lifeguard. And they had beach scenes, and they hadn't hired a lifeguard. So I worked as an interpreter, worked as a lifeguard, and worked as a background talent, and I paid my rent for like 3 months off of one music video. Everything relates. But you don't know that until you get out there and get in it, or you get a chance to share those experiences with others. So I'd love to help you with what you're doing. All right. Red shirt.
I'm a communications marketing major. I'm a returning student that been out of college for 20 plus years. But I'm the operations manager for USI Theater. So
Awesome.
It's kind of surreal. My whole career has been in various customer service roles and things like that. And all I ever wanted to do was work professionally in the theater. And after 25 years in June of 23, I came here and got to live that dream. Oh, yes. And then very close friends with a certain Patrick Drone.
Patrick Drone?
Who I grew up with and who is constantly in touch. We keep in touch quite a bit.
Patrick Drone is, and you'll hear me say this from time to time, but I quite mean this literally for Patrick. He is one of my favorite people on this planet.
It's hard not to become friends with him.
Well,
Oh, I'm sure there's stories.
well, I'm going to share one right now. So during my time as a student here, and maybe you guys have felt this from time to time, there's sometimes a separation between performers and the tech side. How does that play out? Well, we went to, I got nominated for an Ivory Rhine, and we went on this big festival trip, and Patrick and I decided to stay up late past our curfew and have a good time. And he let me have it. He let me have it. Patrick Drone lit me up. Why do you think you're better than everyone else? Why do you think this? Why do you think that? I don't, Patrick. I don't. You're the one that separates from everybody. You're the one that walks off. You're the one that says this, that, and the other. We came together. And when we came together, he ends up on stage as an actor in that show right there. And he still talks about it as one of the best experiences of his life because he got to see the other side. And guess what I started doing? What you all should be doing if you're not doing it, which is going to, at the very least, go to strikes and learn how to use a hammer. If you can learn to design, you need to learn how to design, because all of those things on that list weren't because I was an actor. Almost every paid gig I had is outside of that and led to the acting. So Patrick Drone is one of my favorite people on the planet. Also, he has a tendency to look like Seinfeld every once in a while.
Not so much anymore. He is, as I told him last time I talked to him, I said, Paul Drone's kid. He's like, yeah, I know, shut up.
All right, majors. Why are you doing this? Just start yelling it out.
Like being in this talk or doing theater?
Both. I'm here for everything. Let's go.
We were all told to come here.
We got a mass email.
There's a mass
We're like-
email and we got out a lab for it.
They're like, go or else.
Yes. All right, so what about theater?
There's a couple of reasons. I don't know. It's, for me, I guess, it's something that I kind of got into because my older sister did it, and I thought she was cool, and I did everything that she did.
Yeah.
And I found out that I really enjoyed it, and now she's like a business major. But like, and I liked choir, and I liked performing, and I figured out I was kind of good at it, and I had enough people who encouraged me to make the bad decision to become a theater major. So that's where I'm at. I think it's because I can't really picture myself doing much else. I think I would be miserable. So
There's a lot of things in there. I'm going to start with this one. Not a bad decision. It's what you do with your decision. That's for everybody in this room. It's not a bad decision. It's what you want to do. I was going to ask you before you left. She said when I leave, it's not because I hate you. I believe that's you.
I changed my mind.
It's what you do with your decisions and what you put into it, right? So a lot of times, and even in the mentor world and the banking world, it's the same. I get to, the reason why I got all those promotions is because I think outside the box. I'm not a banker. I can come up with ideas that they won't think of because they've been stuck in that lane forever, right? So it's not the job, it's not the title. It's what you're doing with the opportunity that's in front. And so when I'm mentoring and talking to those folks that are coming up through the ranks, the mistakes are the best part of it. Because of what you can do right after that. And so if you're saying it's a bad decision, let it go. Instead, focus on proving everybody. Right? And you do it that way. All right, who's next? What else we got? You're smiling a lot, but you're not saying anything.
Me?
Yeah, you do.
Well, I'm a theater education minor. My major is in visual arts education.
Okay.
Why I'm here, I think it's just any information I can get about networking or what to do in the future, I think is really important. But then why I'm here, I just have a passion for leadership and teaching, and I want to be in a career where I can be creative. All I want to teach others to be that way and be an advocate for students, and coming generations, and because people need the arts when they're stuck in a classroom 7, 8 hours a day. And so I think continuing that is really important to me.
That's awesome. It's a tough gig, right? But an important one that needs to have smiling faces. So keep doing that. Keep pushing for that. Again, titles and jobs, it doesn't matter what that is. You can still be creative. You can still use your art and push it forward. Who else? See heads nodding. You started to say something. Yeah.
Same kind of as Morgan. I'm here because very close to all of my lab person. But I am a theater major because I feel like I've been dancing since I was 3 years old.
Okay.
And ever since, like, if I think back hard enough on it, my earliest memories are watching the TV in like my grandma's living room and being like, I want to be doing that. But yeah, I mean, I sound designed, but yeah, you're also studio arts minor. I'm also studio arts minor. So yeah, thanks, man. But yeah, it's just happy, makes me happy. So that's what I'm doing.
That is a great place to start. Okay.
Well, I'm here because, well, I don't have a lab, but I'm just here because why not?
Yeah.
It's nice to
Yeah. My entire life. Why not? Let's go.
Pretty much. I mean, I came to USI, became a theater major on a whim. Like, All State was right next to me, but I didn't want to go to All State, so now I'm here. And like I'm a theater major. I mean, I decided to go with that because originally I'm like, oh, what if I teach? And I'm just like, no. But
Oh, teachers are in love here.
yeah, not sorry. Much love. You're all doing great. But I don't know. I like performing, and it's been really nice. And like I'm learning more about like the backstage stuff. So it was nice. Like I've been ASMing shows and stage managed ones so far. So it's been fun.
You're trying out everything.
I figured I might as well. I'm gonna have to learn them one way or another, so I'd rather not go out there and be confused about it and stay here and be confused about it and then figure it out.
It also gets you a lot more gigs along the way.
So, I'm actually a costume design major.
Sweet.
My family has a tradition of theater, and I really loved it.
learning new things, moving forward. And it keeps going for years and years and years. In this case, for me, almost 30 years, which is unbelievable. Because prior to doing this, I could commit to doing something for 6 months, which is crazy. I'm going to tell another story in just a second, but I keep looking over here. I didn't realize you two were over here, so.
Well, I'm a radio and TV major, actually, and I'm here because of, like others have said, my business humanities class, so.
Awesome. All right. What are you going to do with your major?
Hopefully something within radio and television or something adjacent at least.
Well, adjacent around here would be independent film, and there's lots of those folks that work in the theater.
All right.
Especially if you're working camera or sound.
I'm a theater and RTV double major. The RTV was kind of like, yeah, why not? But I've always been interested in multiple aspects of theater, but I mean, first and foremost, I don't act. I prefer live over film, but that's like the ultimate goal. But I'm also really like the tech parts, the light, sound and stuff. So kind of here to learn as much as I can.
Sounds like an actor producer in the making. Put all your own projects together. These things add up and they cross over. Actor, rapper, banker. One-time Hot Topic manager. The deal is once you get going and you follow your passions and you start pushing it forward, the more you learn, the more you can apply. The more you can apply, the more you can help not just yourself, but your friends around you with the things that are going on. And it has come almost full circle in helping moving my career along even 30 years later. Called Sean out, and I'm going to call my friend out. I mentioned the mentor program that started at the credit union that I work at. One of the things that is paramount in growing is becoming a part of a team and finding your team and pushing those things forward. And while I was speaking to my friend on the phone, I get a text from her boyfriend. And he says, "Can I talk to you?" Here's what's crazy. I've only met the guy once. He lives in Jacksonville, Florida. But he calls, and I feel like he's asking me if I would give permission for him to marry her. And I got really emotional about that. And he said, "I need to take it a step further. I need you to get on a plane and come down here New Year's Eve because you have to be here for the engagement." That's the emotional part. What happens when you say yes, when you try different things, when you do things out of the blue, something else pops out of it. What pops out of it is while she is being sequestered in the back of the house so nobody can figure out, or she can't figure out what's going on, they're trying to figure out how to set the stage for this big event, this big moment of engagement. And I'm watching this young lady set the stage, set the lights, move the stuff, direct people around. And I'm like, "Who is that?" I said, "I don't know. We just met her just like you did." So she has come in and taken over this thing. I started talking to her and find out that she is a producer for reality TV in Austin, Texas. And she mentions that she needs an editor. And I mentioned that I know how to edit. And she said she wants to make films. And I said, "I know how to make films. I'll trade you edit work to show you how to make films." So I'm flying to Austin at the end of this month for that very reason. But all of your connections relate. And the more you chase that happiness, the more you'll find the success. So, what other questions do we have out there? Paul?
I have to hear about the rap career.
The rap career? Yeah. All right, so the very first project that we did out of Gator 9 is we did we thought we were fun. So we started a sketch comedy group called CNT Comedy Exchange, Guerrilla Comedy Exchange, because we didn't have any money, so it had to be guerrilla because we were making stuff up on the spot. Anyway, we started this sketch comedy group and started doing shows at bars and clubs in the area. And there was a particular scene where Dr. Dre and Eminem were really popular at the time, and so we flip-flopped the roles. I took the Dr. Dre role, and my buddy took the Eminem role. And it was really the only skit that hit every single time. It was funny every single time. And Elliot Wasserman pulled us aside after one of the shows, and he's like, "You guys are really good rappers." And I'm like, "Why is Elliot telling me that?" He said, "What would Elliot know about rapping?" Well, I don't know if he did it or someone else did it, but one of those songs ended up on 96 STO. And so we decided, Saturday Night Live did the Blues Brothers, we're gonna do a rap thing. So I called the group Eville, which made my grandma angry because she said, "You know it's Heavensville." And that's, we agree to disagree. So we took Eville and started doing shows and used that to start a label, Gator 9 Music, and started recording musical artists along the way. That's where that big list came from. One thing leads to another. There's a group that's from Western Kentucky named Nappy Roots that became a big hit, and we started opening for them. When we opened for them, we ran into at a festival like or show Lil Wayne, and he mentions that he wants to make a documentary, and I mentioned that I know how to make films, and so I go on tour with Lil Wayne and slid him my CD while I was at it, because why not? And so I got to do 2 tours with Lil Wayne right around the time of Carter 2. I think Carter 6 is getting ready to come out. Carter 2, which is Hey DJ was there. But yeah, so from biochemistry major to gangster rap is a big leap, but it was a lot of fun. And actually,
you were talking about mentors earlier. I find like a lot of people have a hard time connecting because sometimes mentors have to be hard on you. How do you take that advice, or how do you let them in and find those people in your crowd?
who's being hard on who? What?
Mentors, sometimes mentors have to be hard on the mentee. How do you separate yourself from personal feelings and getting your feelings hurt and realizing who's meant for you and who's in your side and your crowd?
You have to start with the truth. On that now. From there, it's the decisions you make past that truth. Right? And going one step at a time. You can't see the ending, so don't try to figure out the ending. Take what you have learned and apply it to what you have. You might have to adjust along the way, but that's okay.
What drives you creatively?
Everything. Hey, how's it going? Good. A couple of summers ago, it was fiance, wife?
Girlfriend.
Girlfriend. Working with his girlfriend, I wanted to do a short movie about Willard Library and the Gray Lady. And his girlfriend said, "I write scripts," and I said, "All right, let's do that." So we did that. Any kind of idea. Sometimes it's the reality of truth. Sometimes that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life, and everybody else needs to hear that story. And so inspiration really comes from everywhere, and it's taking that inspiration and finding a way to put it out. One of the things coming in here today, I saw a statue. I'm going to get the quote wrong, but I saw a statue coming around the corner that said, "Past leads to the future." What we're doing right now. That's what it is. Keep the cycle alive, keep the circle going, find out what inspires you, find out what makes you happy, try as many things as possible, and don't stop. Find out what you're passionate about and don't stop. You know how many people have told me or asked me, "Well, you haven't become famous yet, right? You still doing it? You still doing that movie thing? Still, you're a rapper? A rapper?" Yes, and more language that should be in that video. But you just keep going and keep pushing. What questions do you have, Mustache Boy?
Harassment. You're a person who is an initiator of projects, an organizer of projects, and you have created your own opportunities in a lot of ways. What advice would you give to young artists in terms of doing the same?
Nothing is impossible. You have an idea, find a way to do it. You don't have to have the best equipment, you don't have to have the most money, you don't have to have anything other than the desire to get it done. The only person that can truly tell you no is you. Looking around this room, this group is part of a much bigger group, which is part of another bigger group. There's other people who want to do the same things. My conversation with him caused this movie to happen out of the blue. And I don't know, 2-week turnaround?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, we had one Zoom call. Okay, what do we want our story to be? All right, write that story, great. Will that fit into this horror project I'm working on? Yeah, it will. She wants to do that, who wants to do this, who wants to do that. One Zoom call. 2 days later, we had a script, and a week and a half later, we're shooting. It's just that simple. And if you're holding yourself back because of equipment or funding, stop. Just stop. Because the camera on here is better than the camera I shot on that Lil Wayne video on. Obviously, you just saw the picture. That camera cost $10,000 and is obsolete. Yes?
What do you do with the fear of failure?
Fear of failure?
It sounds like you in your story, you jump from one thing to another. And I was afraid, I was concerned, I was anxious. You never said that. So I'm wondering what's your process?
Yeah, I jump because I am afraid. Because if I don't jump, if you don't try, then you're going to get hit. And I'm afraid of getting hit. I'm afraid that I'm not going to get the experience that I really want. That fear stemmed from middle school, high school stuff of being told you can't do that, or don't do that, or you really need to shut your mouth right now. You need to not do this. You need to pay attention to that. And so I started to believe all of that after a while. And coming here and hitting these stages and having people who trusted me and believed in me and wanted to push me forward gave me an opportunity to stop listening to that voice, that fear voice, because I had a team. And that matters. And so that's why I had the order in there. Get your team together, get your mentors together, and they will lift you up when you can't lift yourself up. And we have done that a lot over the years. Not just for projects. When my father passed away, Elliot Wasserman showed up at the funeral. You have no idea how huge that is. When I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to kickstart this short video project I'm working on, these two gentlemen right here are like, we love stuff like that. Let's do that. And so we did. You don't know if you don't ask. And if you don't ask, you already failed. So what am I afraid of in the first place? So keep going. I've made some terrible stuff, like bad. But we've got some pretty good stuff too. And a whole lot of years of memories and meeting awesome people along the way. Yes, sir?
Yeah, what was your most favorite project that you got to work on? Something you look back on, you're just like, oh my God, that was so much fun.
There's a lot of those. Let me come back to that. I'll end with that. I need to think about that.
Can I ask one more?
Yeah.
What was it like to work with Billy Bob Thornton? I love him. My mom hates him every year. We turn on like Bad Santa and watch it for Christmas.
Yeah.
She just despises
Yeah.
him. I love him.
You know how I know he's a good actor? Because he is not Bad Santa.
Yeah.
He is a extremely talented guy from Arkansas who worked his tail off, and to go back to the failure question, failed over and over and over and over again. And I made bar types because he told me a story of how he made sling blade and how he was afraid of that. And he was catering business. He was working as a caterer, and he tried to walk up to a famous director, and that famous director said, you know, was being kind of a jerk. And but Billy introduced himself anyway and said, you know, hey, I want to do this. And he was like, oh God, don't be an actor. You do not have a face for that, but you have a face for directing. And he took that, and he did a one-man show, and had been doing some little TV parts on like Evening Shade and different shows like that, and became friends with Burt Reynolds, and Burt Reynolds said, I'll pay for that. And so they made a short film, and that short film turned into Sling Blade, and Billy basically said to me, you need to go do that.
When I was really young, because I'm like super old, and it sucks,
You're not super old.
31, it sucks. Yeah. But when I was really young, so like my dad, he had a theater in the house, and he had all these DVDs, and it was great, because he was really big into cinema and film, and so am I. And he showed me the movie Bandits with Billy Bob Thornton and Kate Blanchett, and
Bruce Willis.
And that, no one here has ever seen that, and that's attending college classes has probably never seen that movie, but it was awesome, and I fell in love with him as an actor because of the movie. That's one of the best movies, I feel like. I'm sure you're.
Yeah, he did that one in Tin Cup back to back, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I actually went to that premiere. But yeah, it was. He's just he's a regular guy, just like we're regular people.
Wow.
And he wasn't an actor to start. He's actually a drummer by trade. And so I ended up stopped working for him when he went to do the music stuff, and that's when the film stuff really started. Good.
So I'm staring at your Google Drive. I'm the assistant dean, but I'm also a historian. And I'm wondering, have you considered talking with our archive about curating your materials and donating them to the university archives to have accessibility?
That makes me feel weird a little bit. I know you meant that as complimentary, but why would you do that?
Because it's such an incredible example of moxie and chutzpah, and I'm sure a lot of people told you you can't do that being from Evansville, and you can't do it in Evansville.
I got this job. I didn't get this job myself. It was a guy from Evansville.
Yeah.
He answered an ad. This is true. His name's Earl Milligan. He's probably 70-something now. He answered an ad, called me up, and said, Charles, you know rap? I was like, yeah. He was like, you ever heard of Lil Wayne? I was like, yeah. He's like, I think I just got hired to do a documentary. I was like, okay, what do you want me to do? He's like, I need you to direct it. Okay, when are we going? July 4th weekend, we're going to Louisville. We're going to get on their bus and be with them for 2 weeks. That's how easy that stuff happens.
Sort of maybe going back to the failure question a little bit, how do you deal with sort of a field of work that is so inconsistent oftentimes?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. That's a question that hurts people's feelings a lot. It's not going to hurt mine because it's true for everybody. Everyone has an inconsistency. Everyone. And for a while, there were stories that really famous actors and actresses were buying up their old films so no one could see them. It's not about what you didn't do well. It's about what you learned from that project and how you can apply it to the next one. Because you only need one failure. That's all you need. Does that help?
I meant it more in like what opportunities you get. That's a good answer to the question I think you heard.
All right, try again.
That sounds rude. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Try again.
Like where it is kind of the thing of it is just kind of you kind of go on to the next opportunity and you don't really know what that's going to look like. I have a lot of people who are like, oh, you're doing theater. What do you plan to do after you graduate? And I'm like, theater. I don't know. Nothing like specific. You can't always think that far ahead.
It's in the name of the degree. I plan on doing theater.
Yeah.
That's what I plan on doing. And that theater is a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things. So, I think I would answer that in a different way. Again, it's not the way you're asking, but I would answer it this way. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they are asking of you, it matters what you're asking of yourself. And so, to say, did you mean inconsistency like the number of jobs you'll have in a row? Or?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, so I did freelance work, that's how I started being a banker, actually. I did freelance work for 20 some odd years. And my daughter was on the way and I needed insurance. So I took the banking job for insurance. I have a friend of mine from childhood who wanted to be a banker, is a banker, is an executive. We have the exact same position. He's been doing banking for 35 years. I, at the time, was less than 10 and just couldn't figure it out. He doesn't have to. Be who you are and do it the best way you can. Doesn't matter what anybody else. I think we're gonna. This is how